Well, I've been talking about doing this for some time now, and I think now is the time to do it. I just received my Eaglemoss Space 1999 Transport Eagle, which I've been waiting for breathlessly for the last couple months, as you've all had to bear witness while I posted about it. Sorry about that. First, let's do an unboxing. Alright, that's not a box anymore. Now onto the Eagle. This is the Eaglemoss Eagle, a transporter version. I'll give you a little brief history about the Eagle for those of you who may not be aware of it. It was a ship in a TV show. This is the Eagle. The Eaglemoss Hero Collector Space 1999 Eagle Transporter. The first one in their line of ships. And it's not perfect. First person to say that. There are a few issues with it, but by and large, very happy with it. Let's go over the negatives first. The paint job. As was pointed out earlier today by somebody online, and I can't believe I missed this, so I went back and redid this. These black paints behind the reaction control thrusters, that's terrible. That actually does not look at all like it's supposed to. It's one of those things that you can sort of see what they're doing, but you can't figure out why they're doing it. The other thing that was pointed out is the colors of the engine nozzles. These bells are not supposed to be a charcoal silver kind of thing. They're supposed to be silver. They're supposed to be as chrome as possible, but not quite chrome, I don't believe. Same thing with the engine nozzles on the underside. They're supposed to be the same kind of color. Now, generally speaking, the rest of the paint job, to my eye, is pretty darn good. If I had any one complaint, it is that the weathering, the panel work is maybe a little too subtle. If you take a closer look, and I will put up photos of this, the panels on the top and the bottom and along the sides of the Eagle are very beautifully done. They're very, very subtle and very hard to see because they're very, very subtle. So that's kind of an annoying thing. Otherwise, the paint decos are very nicely done. They match, to my recollection, mostly the stickers that were done. So I think round 2 probably made this a lot easier for them to do. They could just get a round 2 model and take a look at the graphics needed and where they go, and that probably saved them a whole bunch of hassle. The modeling of it is beautiful. It is better than I anticipated. Yes, these frames are a little thicker than they should be. That's a production issue, and that's the sort of thing that, for the people that tell me, well, if you want top dog, you go to 1612 and spend $300 for an Eagle. Okay, fine, I get that. I'm spending $80 for an Eagle. If these pipes are a little bit thicker because that's how they do it, you know what? I'm okay with that. That's one of the trade-offs. I'm constantly being told we need to accept trade-offs. It's like shipping time. Well, shipping time is this, this, and this. Accept it. Okay? So if you're going to accept that, accept the other. I would love to see if Eaglemoss is willing to take some critical comments on this, as long as they're done in the proper spirit, and say, hey, yeah, you know what? That color isn't quite right. We were trying something and it didn't work. And on future versions, of which there's at least the 3 planned, and we can figure that they're going to have another one in the next lineup. That would be the lab pod with the attached spine booster. It would be nice if they corrected those issues, the paint job here and the paint job here and the underside nozzles. Otherwise, I'd love to see them improve the visibility of the shaded panels, and I would love for them to maybe find some way to make the landing gear more bouncy, because these are just in place landing gear. There is no bounce to it. Having said all that, the paint decos on here, things that even now I'm still seeing new things. Like I just sort of mentally blurred them out, but they're there. Some really beautiful little decals there on the back cage. There's the black strap there and there. Just a lovingly done ship, and I really was not expecting this level of quality from Eaglemoss. So, hey, go with it. I really would love to see people support this line, not because like I have stock in Eaglemoss. I don't, I actually was one of the big complainers about the delays in shipping and so forth. But then I'm like that. I'm an old guy. I complain. But I would like to see this supported, because the quality on this, for a lot less than the cost of a 1612 die cast, the quality is probably almost identical, except for my favorite mistake, and it's one of very, very few that I've seen. This cargo pod / passenger pod does not detach. Why would they do that? Why would they, make that not detachable? And I figured it out. I believe because there is a certain amount of heft to this that suggests that there's metal inside it, because this is plastic, these appear to be plastic, everything here is plastic, the cage is plastic, this is plastic, but I believe the inside of the cage, of the cages, and running the length through, given the weight of the weight distribution, I believe this is all cord metal, as in there's a piece of metal in there that runs the length, that gives it its stability, gives it its ability to stand up to things. So yeah, not a bad job at all. And I love the weight is just about perfect for what I wanted. The landing gear, while not absolutely 100% perfect, takes into account, and I'll have photos that are more detailed, takes into account the idea that the this should be rigid, should be strong, should hold up to a certain amount of use, and yet it's not pushed up like, say, the Fundimension / Airfix model kit that served our community for 40 plus years. And yet it's not all the way down as if it were just in flight. So they sort of took a middle ground, said it's going to be displayed like that. So the landing gear is at a depth where the ship has landed. Okay, does that make sense? I hope it does. As opposed to when it takes off, they'll droop down a little bit. But again, for $80, I'm very happy with that. I think the quality of this build surpasses anything that I thought I was going to get. And, because honestly, in my mind, I thought it was going to be a little more toy-like. I really did. But I'm pleased to say that no, it's actually extremely well cut. It's extremely well assembled. The seams are all very tight. You can see a few seams here, but that doesn't mean that you feel them if you run your fingers over that. The scaling of everything appears to be very accurate. They did their research on this. They followed. I'm certain they must have built a few of the round 2 kits. What can I say? If you're going to steal from the best. But and you can't say, oh, they stole from round 2, because guess what? Round 2 stole from Brian Johnson. It's how they do things. It's you find out how it was done and you replicate it as close as possible. But having said that, they did a beautiful job. I'm very happy, and I don't think of this as a cheap item. Not because it's $80 and that's a lot of money to me. I don't think of it as a cheap item because it doesn't feel cheap at all to me. It doesn't feel toy-like. It's not a soft plastic like, say, you'd find in an action figure. It's more of a hard structure, very deliberate angles, very deliberate curves. Paint job is pretty meticulous when it's right, and okay, yes, I'm going to say it, a little bit egregious when it's not. Okay? Well, that's my review. Got to give this review something really good. Well, how do I want to rate this? Because, I haven't done one of these before. So I've got to come up with some sort of iconic rating system. All right. I give it 4.5 Carter crashes out of 5. How's that? I'm Joe. Thank you for listening. I look forward to your somewhat nasty Yelp reviews or whatever. And have a nice day.